We'll discuss Rakhigarhi today because Rakhigarhi has been in news in the recent times and it has gained a lot of importance. Its significance lies with GS1 culture in ancient history. A question can be asked in the essay and ethics angle, and it's very important for prelims and mains as well. So, what does NCRT say about Rakhigarhi and Harappan civilization? Location is in Hisar district of Haryana on the dried up Gaggar Saraswati river plain, about 150 kilometers northwest of Delhi. Scale, its largest known Harappan site by area, comprising multiple mounds. And chronology shows continuous habitation, pre and early Harappan through mature Harappan phase. Discovery first reported in 1963, major excavations by ASI and Deccan College. Harappan urban features seen at Rakhigarhi, planned settlement with mud brick structure and streets, cemetery burial sign, Mound 7 with grave goods, evidence of bead making, pottery and craft specialization, trade links, shell bangles, gold ornaments indicate coastal and long distance trade. Granary like storage and drainage features reported, seals and script bearing artifacts recovered. This is very important. Now, coming to what is happening in the recent times. In May or June of 2026, fresh AXI excavations at Mound number 7 uncovers 8 human skeletons, including 3 women, pottery, gold ornaments, and shell bangles. In June, these skeletal samples were sent to Anthropological Society of India located in Kolkata and Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleontology located in Lucknow for ancient DNA extraction. On June 22nd, they signed an MOU between Archaeological Society of India and Anthropological Society of India, a formal transfer of remains for multidisciplinary paleogenomic study. Now, July 3rd, Haryana CM directs Rakhigarhi Museum design to depict Akhand Bharat and Saraswati Sindhu narrative. 90 crores have been approved by the Finance Ministry. So these are the recent things that have happened, and which is why Rakhigarhi is in news and has gained a lot of importance. Now, what happened in 2019? A study was done by Shinde et al., which published its findings. They have shown that DNA from a single Rakhigarhi skeleton, which was analyzed, no traces of steppe ancestry were found in this individual. It's used as an evidence that Harappans were largely indigenous, predating any large-scale steppe or Indo-Aryan migration. Became central to the debate on indigenous Aryan versus Aryan migration theories. Mind you, this study, Shinde et al., does not completely rule out the Indo-Aryan migration. It only states that no evidence has been found so far, especially because the skeleton analyzed was just one, and therefore the material analyzed was limited, and we did not have any further evidence. Okay. Now, what does 2026 update expanded genomic study say? Now, multiple new skeletons were identified and they are now sent to ASNI and BSIP for DNA extraction in Mound number 7. Now, this sample is much larger than 2019. CCMB and BHU scientists to study the ancestry, health, and mobility adaptation since 3000 BC. They could confirm, refine, or complicate the 2019 single sample conclusion. What does this mean? Mains relevance is that it shows how science reshapes historiography and feeds identity and political debates. Now, what are the key facts about Rakhigarh? Site Museum Interpretation Center is under construction near National Highway 152. 90 crores approved by Union Finance Ministry for visitor infrastructure. Galleries to show 7 mounds, urban planning, drainage, trade and livelihoods. CM Directive, Museum to depict Akhand Bharat and civilizational spread. Why does this matter for mains? Into Indus Saraswati civilization versus Indus Valley civilization, terminology reflects a historiographical political debate on the origins. A question can be framed on this. Museum design choices like Akhand Bharat framing show how archaeology intersects with contemporary nation building narratives. Balancing scientific caution, that is, small DNA samples, ongoing research with public political narrative building, is a live GS4 essay theme. Okay. Now, heritage, tourism, ASI infrastructure funding linked to GS3, that is tourism, employment generation. So questions can be framed in various papers based on this topic. Now, coming to the common myths versus facts. So a common myth is DNA study fully disapproves Aryan migration theory. No, it does not. It only states that we have one skeletal survey which is conducted, which is stating that no origins of steppe have been found. No evidence for Indo-Aryan migration theory was identified. Having said that, we cannot completely deny that. Based on 2019 study, 2026 samples are still being analyzed. The conclusion is only provisional and not a settled proof. Now coming to the Rakhigarhi is the only major Harappan site in Haryana? No. It also has got Banavali, Kunal and Birana. Remember, this could be a prelims MCQ. It's part of the same Gagar Hakra cluster of sites. So Haryana has got Banavali, Kunal, Birana and Rakhigarhi. Rakhigarhi shows only mature Harappan phase? No. It shows continuous occupation of early pre-Harappan through mature Harappan, key to the indigenous evolution argument. It has got all the three phases. Now coming to Indus-Saraswati civilization is just another name and there's no real difference. No, there is a difference. It reflects a genuine historiographical debate. It's tied to river identification and origins of the civilization questions. Okay. So recall fast, Rakhi R is a region, Hisar, Haryana on the dried up Gagar Saraswati plain, ancient DNA, 2019 no steppes origin, 2026 expanded multi-skeleton study is underway, results are awaited. 2026 key finds, Mound 7, 8 skeletons were found, gold ornaments, shell bangles, they show evidence of trade. Heritage push, 90 crore museum allotted for museum, Akhand Bharat and civilization spread framing. Indus Saraswati debate, naming terminology reflects a live historiographical and political debate. Now, why is this topic fitting into UPSC syllabus? Where does it fit into? Subtopic, Harappan urban planning and sites, GS1, ancient Indian history and culture, Mount 7 excavation burial practices can be asked in prelims and GS1 mains, ancient DNA Aryan migration debate can be asked in essay or GS1 mains. Museum funding and everything can be asked in GS paper 3 about tourism and infrastructure. Akhand Bharat narrative framing can be asked as a part of ethics history recording. Now remember certain facts, analysis of certain things, etc. etc. So opinion based balanced answer would be needed based on these facts. Now model MCQs, consider the following statements about Rakhigarhi. It's located on the banks of Ghagara River plain in Haryana. It's considered among the largest known Harappan sites. Excavations have revealed only mature Harappan phase. Statement 3 is incorrect. First two statements are correct. Always look at whether he's asking the correct or the incorrect statements. So 2019 DNA study on Rakhigarhi skeletal Shinde et al. Is significant because it confirmed large-scale steppe ancestry in Harappans. No, it did not. Found no steppe ancestry fitting the indigenous origin argument. Proved Harappans used a Vedic script. Established a genetic link with Mesopotamia only. Statement B is correct because we could not find any steppe origin. And question 3, recent excavations at Rakhigarhi's Mount 7 uncovered evidence of trade contacts through iron tools, shell bangles, glass beads, silk fragments. It is the shell bangles and certain gold ornaments as well. So shell bangles were found in 2 female skeletons. Mount 7 point to trade links with the coastal regions. Okay. Now, a question like this can be asked in mains. Recent excavations in ancient DNA research at Rakhigarhi have reopened the debate on the origins of Harappan civilization and its relationship with the Aryan migration theory. Critically examine, discuss how heritage sites are increasingly linked with contemporary politico-cultural narratives. This is a 15 marks question. You need to answer into 50 words. When somebody says critically examine, you need to look at both the points. You are evaluating it, you are criticizing it, kind of thing. Both pros, cons, and all angles you will have to discuss. So introduction, briefly state Rakhigarh's significance as the largest Harappan site and mention 2026 excavation and DNA developments. In the body part 1, discuss the findings of Mount 7 burials, 2019 findings, 2026 DNA studies, what is expected, what are they planning to study. Analyze the Aryan migration versus indigenous origin debate objectively, because if we have evidence of any migration, then the entire narrative would change. As of now, we do not have evidence as such, and Indus Valley civilization has historically been considered as indigenous in origin. But if we get evidence of Aryan migration theory, and probably our idea would change, the nomenclature would change, the way we perceive things will change. Okay. Now analyze the Aryan migration theory. Now, examine how museums and heritage framing like Akhand Bharat reflect politico-cultural narrative building, note need for scientific rigor versus public narrative. So just note that we have got some evidence, some material to study, We don't have any scientific evidence so far. We are going to study the skeletal remains, and later on we might come out with certain findings. But a political debate has already started whether they are indigenous versus Aryan migration, and we are also pushing a narrative through political cultural lens, and that is something a question can be framed on. Balanced note science should inform history writing. Heritage development can combine tourism, education with academic caution. Okay, so just remember these one slide recap. Hisar, Haryana, largest known Harappan, multi-mound settlement, mould 7, 8 skeletons identified, gold ornament, shell bangles, and pottery identified. Sample sent to Anthropological Society of India, BSIP, Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleontology, feeds Aryan migration versus indigenous debate. Heritage Plus 90 crore museum, Akhand Bharat, framing tourism potential. Concentrate on all these things. Thank you.